Hey there, CineMaster fans! Hope you're ready for some movie magic. Let's dive right in. The movie Superbrothers begins in one night. While dozing off on top of his study materials, Anon hears his older brother mumbling and, looking out the window, realizes he's on the roof again. To prevent the boy from jumping off and getting hurt, Anon runs to him and brings him back inside. Despite being the youngest, Anton takes on far more responsibilities than his brother and even helps him with his schoolwork. Anton decided to take on the role of the older brother and helps his mother with household chores every day. After having breakfast, the two brothers walk together to school, and Anon is followed by Agnes, who apparently has a crush on him. Bothered by his younger brother's constant supervision, Buller claims he can walk alone. So, Anon decides to test him. When the light turns green, he tells Buller to cross first, but when the cars start moving again, the boy collapses. Worried about his brother's safety, Anton waits for the light to turn green again and runs to him. Due to his high degree of autism, Buller finds it difficult to handle many stimuli, and his hypersensitivity means he can't be left unsupervised. When they arrive at school, Anon sees a group of troublemaking students walking toward him and asks his brother to hide while he deals with those guys. At that moment, Buller discovers that every day his brother gets his snack stolen and feels bad for not being able to do anything to help him. On the way back home, after visiting the psychiatrist, the two brothers argue and Anton reveals his frustration about having a brother who needs special care. When their mother parks the car and goes shopping, Anton sees two brothers playing ball together and laments the fact that he can't experience that. When they get home, Buller rushes to get his drawing materials and spends the whole night lost in his own world. In an attempt to apologize to his brother and win back his friendship, Buller gives him a stack of drawings he made himself. But as soon as the boy turns his back, Anton throws the papers in the trash. A few minutes later, he hears his brother mumbling again and climbs onto the roof after him. However, instead of taking him down, Anon decides to do nothing and just watches, waiting for the moment Buller will suffer a terrible fall. Despite loving his brother very much, Anton starts to think about his life and concludes that it would be much easier if the boy simply didn't exist. Suddenly, a burning space sphere falls in a park next to the school where Anon studies and causes a lot of damage when it hits the ground. The next day, when the teacher takes her students for a walk, the students spread out in the park and Anton starts playing with a spider. The boy reveals that he wishes Buller would be bitten by an arachnid and turn into Spider-Man, so he could be the younger brother of a superhero. At that moment, Anton sees smoke coming from inside a mound of earth and decides to approach to find out what is causing that phenomenon. Meanwhile, Anya goes to a natural products store to look for alternative treatments for her son. The saleswoman suggests a plant that Tibetan monks consider a miraculous tea. The monks who drank that tea had their senses enhanced and achieved a higher level of clarity about life. Upon hearing this, Anya decides to take the plant, hoping the tea can help her son settle into reality. When the teacher announces the end of class, Anon gathers his things to leave and realizes he is being followed by Agnes. Trying to shake her off, the boy walks quickly through the hallways and almost knocks over a staff member who was cleaning the school windows. At that moment, Max and his gang end up getting splashed by water, starting a cascade effect in which all the boys are affected. Luckily, Anon manages to leave the school before Max finds him, but ends up being caught by the students while waiting outside for his brother. Seeing his brother being attacked, Buller hides because he can't muster the courage to go help him. When he realizes his brother saw everything and did nothing, Anon is outraged and, when he gets home, still has to listen to his mother complain about how he treats Buller. During the argument, Anton says he's tired of having to help his mother with everything, especially taking care of his brother, and says he can't wait to become an adult so he can leave that house. After the fight, the boy climbs onto the roof and, while looking at the stars, decides to make a wish. His only desire is for his older brother to be like all the others. And at that moment, he sees a plane flying over his house. That night, Anon decides to look for all the last drawings his brother made for him. And when he gathers them, the boy realizes they are pieces of a big puzzle. Seeing the image of a large space sphere falling to Earth, the boy returns to the park next to his school and starts digging, convinced that the sphere fell right there. When he finally finds the object, Anton decides to take it home and asks Buller for help to figure out what it is. Based on his brother's drawings, Anton examines the sphere and the boy says it came from another planet. At that moment, the youngest grabs a baseball bat to try to open the thing, and after hit it twice, the shell begins to open like an oyster. From inside it, countless tentacles and luminous butterflies emerge, flying around the room. As Anon approaches the shell to investigate if there is anything else inside, he finds an object and accidentally fires a blue ray at his brother's thumb. Then, Bull's finger starts to glow and both of them see a hologram of Lead appear right in front of them, an engineer of toys who lives in the Kuiper belt. where the planet Kuber is located. Since the moment he decided to retire, Lid has sent his toys on a journey through space so that children in other galaxies can benefit from his greatest inventions. Thanks to this decision, Anton and Buller are now owners of a super trip control, also known as STC, which cannot be exposed directly to water or sunlight. At the end of the transmission, a floating screen appears in the room and Anon presses play. At that moment, the toy starts to glow, and the boy points the laser beam at the aquarium. After being hit by the shot, the goldfish starts spinning at high speed, creating a whirlpool in the water. Scared, the two brothers leave the room and lock the door to keep the situation a secret. Then, they both go to sleep in Buller's room, and when the lights go out, the boy's thumb starts glowing again. At this moment, the boy concludes that he belongs to another planet and waits for the light to go out so they can sleep. The next morning, Anya prepares Tibetan monk tea for her son, and Buller decides to drink it, since all he wants is to become a teenager like everyone else. Later, when they get home from school, the two brothers discover that their mother will go out on a date and they will have to stay home alone that night. So, as soon as Anya leaves the house, the pair run to Anton's room and find the goldfish swimming around the whirlpool. Trying to understand what the toy is capable of, Buller asks his brother to shoot him, and his whole body starts to glow. When the blue color disappears, Buller tries to communicate, but his voice fails and Anton tries to help him. Suddenly, the boy stands up and starts acting completely differently, as if he were just like any other boy. Trying to understand what is happening, Anton goes after Buller and is happy to discover that he has gained a super cool older brother. That night, it is Buller who helps his younger brother with his homework, and Anton is relieved to realize he will no longer have to play that role. When they leave the house, the two brothers encounter their neighbor, who complains about the paintings made on the pole in front of the boy's house. As soon as the man gets in his car and drives away, Buller pulls the pole out with his own hands and puts it in the neighbor's yard. At that moment, Anon feels very proud of his older brother and is impressed by his strength. As soon as the pair enter the house, Agnes appears to talk to Anon, but the boy dismisses her once again and closes the door. Hours later, Anya arrives in her neighborhood and tries to dismiss the man she went on the date with, but he insists on accompanying her to her house. Thus, when she gets to the yard, the woman says goodbye to Henrique and closes the door in his face to prevent him from entering. The next morning, after preparing tea for Buller, Anya notices that her son is acting differently and says she is proud of him for maturing. When the pair leave the house to go to school, Anton draws his brother's attention and advises him to be careful so their mother doesn't notice that he is different. As they walk towards school, they are followed by Agnes and, for the first time in his life, Anton. Later, during class, Agnes sends a note to Anton and asks if he wants to be her boyfriend. However, instead of answering yes or no, he decides to dodge the question and gives an evasive answer. At recess, the boy once again has his snack stolen by Max, and not satisfied with just the sandwich, the boy decides to steal Anton's allowance. However, instead of handing over the money, the boy arranges to meet Max after school to introduce him to his older brother. As agreed, at the end of class, Anon and his brother wait for the gang of students on the soccer field, but Buller decides to leave after waiting a few minutes. Shortly after, Max and his gang show up and Anton comes home covered in mud. Furious, he goes to talk to his brother about what happened and claims that it's all his fault. Then, the boy runs to his room and kicks the toy he found in the space shell. At that moment, the control falls into the aquarium and stops working. When he realizes that his goldfish has stopped swimming around its own axis, Anton checks if the effect of that blue light on his brother has also been interrupted and feels frustrated when his suspicions are confirmed. Soon after, Angela arrives home and, realizing that Buller has returned to normal, she feels frustrated because she realizes that the tea did not have the desired effect. Seeing the sadness in his mother's eyes, Anton tries to fix things and puts the STC on top of the heater in his room, hoping it will work again. After taking a shower, the boy goes downstairs for dinner and sees that his mother made ice cream cake for dessert. At that moment, Anton realizes that she is not well and hugs her to try to comfort her. Suddenly, Angel hears the doorbell and goes to answer the door. At that moment, she comes face to face with Agnes, and the girl says she has an invitation for Anton. After opening the envelope, the boy discovers there will be a costume party that weekend, and Agnes advises him to choose a beautiful outfit, as there will be a costume contest. Upon hearing this, Anton refuses the invitation, but his mother insists that he go with his brother and assures him she will take care of the costumes. The next day, when he arrives at school and sees Max's gang approaching, Antonio hides by the trash cans and this time manages to go unnoticed. At that moment, he has an idea to make the remote control work again. When he gets home, the boy uses his mother's hairdryer to fix it. By doing so, the little goldfish starts spinning inside the aquarium again, and Anon realizes his plan worked. However, before the boy can celebrate, Lydia's hologram appears once more and informs him that the STC will shut down permanently in 36 hours because it was exposed to water. At that moment, Anon hears loud music coming from his brother's room and feels relieved to see Buller acting differently again. Suddenly, the boy opens the window and jumps out. Looking outside, Anon discovers his brother can fly and runs down the stairs to chase after him. Seeing his brother flying through the sky like a real superhero, Anton is thrilled to have a brother with superpowers. However, on the way, he meets Agnes and has to hide while watching his brother suffer an aerial accident. When he finally gets rid of her, Anton checks on him. He is fine, despite all the damage caused to the neighbor's garden. Suddenly, Nabo appears at the door and the two brothers run back home to shower before their mother arrives from work. Worried about what his mother might do if she finds out what happened, Anton asks his brother to keep his superpowers a secret, but Buller can't hide his new personality. Seeing him talk so uninhibitedly, Anya regains hope that her son will become a functional boy. Realizing this, Anon becomes worried because he knows that in less than 30 hours, Buller will return to how he was before. The next day, Anya goes back to the natural products store to buy more tea, convinced that the plant is helping her son improve his attention span. Later, when she gets home, the woman hands 2 costumes to her sons to wear to the party and calls Anon aside to talk. After making him promise to keep it secret, Anya reveals the reason for giving Buller Tibetan tea every morning and says that thanks to it, the boy is improving. After putting on his costume, Buller takes on his superhero personality and decides to go after the boys who used to bother his younger brother. After mocking them, the boy says he'll be waiting for Max and his gang at that field at dawn and disappears after kicking their ball up into the air. However, when he gets home, Buller discovers that in the next 11 hours he will lose his superpowers and starts crying because he doesn't want to go back to his old personality. Realizing there's nothing he can do to change his fate, the boy decides to enjoy his last hours with his younger brother and uses the STC to give him superpowers too. Then, they both go downstairs to head to the party and run into Henrique at the door. While the boys are at the party, the man says he will keep their mother company. When they arrive at school, the two brothers find Agnes dressed as a black cat and discover they are the only guests at the party. At that moment, the girl draws a name to dance with her and Anton. While his brother is on the dance floor, Buller takes the opportunity to eat snacks and discovers that his brother's name was written on all the draw slips. After a long night of fun, Anton and Buller return home but notice their mother isn't very comfortable with Henrique around. So Buller invites him for a talk and, upon reaching the upstairs bathroom, the man is immobilized. While Anton brushes his teeth, Buller orders the fool to leave and never bother their mother again. As soon as Henrique shuts the door, the boys take Anya up to the roof, showing her the incredible view they have from their own home. Knowing his mother dreams of visiting Paris, Antony holds her by the arms and takes her for a ride. After flying over the city for a few minutes, they land for ice cream, and after taking a picture with their mother, they bring her back home, knowing they'll lose their superpowers soon. When they get to the room, Wenton and Buller discover there are only 15 minutes left until the STC stops working forever and they return to how they were before. So they decide to spend their last minutes going after Max. However, on the way, Buller decides to take a detour and starts flying higher and higher. After watching the sunrise, the two brothers hear the toy beep, signaling its self-destruction. At that moment, they lose their powers and start falling rapidly. Luckily, during the fall, Anon manages to open the emergency parachute attached to the toy, and they cling to each other until they finally manage to land. Looking around, they realize they are on the soccer field, and Buller goes back to being the shy and introverted boy he was before. While trying to calm his brother, he spots Max and his gang approaching and orders Buller to stay behind him. Realizing that his younger brother is in danger, Buller tries to intimidate the students, but his stance doesn't inspire any confidence, and Max soon realizes he is harmless. When he sees his brother being threatened by those boys, Ananton becomes furious and challenges Max to a fight. However, this time, instead of trying to run away or hide, Buller decides to stay by his brother's side, no matter what happens, and prepares for battle. Seeing the two awkward boys, the students knock them down, and when they realize the pair is at a disadvantage, the whole group decides to leave. At that moment, the two boys get up for a new confrontation and challenge their opponents to another fight. Once again, Anon and Buller are easily defeated, but they don't give in to failure and decide to get up once more. However, when they notice that their opponents won't give up the fight, Max and the other boys decide to leave, and Anon thanks his older brother for defending him, even though both got beaten up. After getting the STC back, the boys return home and decide to hide it in a secret hiding spot. However, during the night, something completely unexpected happens and the toy starts to glow, producing a light strong enough to wake both brothers. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, make sure to subscribe for more awesome content. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.